What's up, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle Smith, and I am here live with you on a Tuesday night, joined by our other faithful hosts. You know, we wouldn't want to be anywhere talking about a 1-4 team other than this lovely show. Kyle West is here. How are you?
Kyle Smith is live. I am pre-recorded. I just hit numbers on the keypad and just say things over and over. Hit number 3 for Joe Webb discussion.
This is AI Kyle West, and we will only be doing Jim Kleinsetzer stats today because why not? I saw a surprising number of those jerseys this weekend, by the way. I cannot wait to tell you guys about my experience. But I have to finish
we have to entertain ourselves because this season is not going to be entertaining. It doesn't seem like. Well, it is, but not the fun kind of entertaining, I don't think.
We are officially in the upside down of 2022. The 2023 season is the polar opposite of last year.
Yeah, this is the total inverse of last year.
Lastly, but not least, Adam Carlson's here. How are you, sir?
I am a hologram.
Damn you both for that. That's very funny. I don't know. We're here. We're going to talk about this football team. They're pretty bad. They're really good, but not showing it. Question mark. I'm Ron Burgundy. Don't know what to do with my hands. The Vikings fall to the reigning Super Bowl champs, 27-20. Another one-score game. Another game with a little bit of drama. And, you know, we're inching towards, if we aren't already there, for this season is pretty much over with. There's no postseason hope. And, yeah.
How did so many Vikings fans get those custom Taylor Swift Vikings jerseys so fast?
I didn't see that.
China?
They were all over the TV. And to get them from China that quick would be impressive.
Yeah, I've had like 2 weeks, and I can tell you firsthand from shipping stuff on the other side of the world, it takes about that time. So,
oh, fuck. Longer than
first
that,
of all,
I thought.
Shout out. We got some people in here. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was going to say, no sense of burying the lead when you were talking about, you know, which way the season's headed. With Justin Jefferson going on IR, at least, 4 weeks he's going to be out for. This was a game I don't think that the Vikings were ever – we were never going to beat the Chiefs, even if the season was going the way we expected it to. That really is going to hurt the team with no JJ out on the field. So
I don't think
Twitter, everyone was saying Addison needs to get in that starting lineup, and he did. I don't think they meant that way.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
He does need to get in the starting lineup, but not like this.
I do think, and we'll do a lot of discussion on JJ. We'll talk about the game. I do think that this is, if we're looking at a silver lining, they're not mathematically eliminated yet, but they are damn close, and it's only going into week 6.
They haven't played a division game yet. Come on, calm down.
Okay, that's true. You're not wrong. I'm going to go on a rant later, but you're correct. They're going to play their first division game this Sunday on the road in Chicago. They are a beatable team. Jordan Love looks like shit for the Packers, and I love that so much. I don't see them winning the division because Detroit, I think, will handle them pretty well, barring some crazy.
Yeah, the Bears have been rolling the last 2 weeks, so that's not going to be an easy game.
It's not. You're right. I do believe the Vikings are the more talented team, but the blow, not having Justin Jefferson, is going to be tough. I am looking at silver linings, though. I'm glad that the Vikings drafted Jordan Addison. If they had rolled without him and they could have went 3 or 4 other ways in the first round, I thought they should have taken went to the Steelers. His dad was a corner for them.
I thought you meant you turned the game off and put silver lining playbooks on.
I do love Jennifer Lawrence. She is my number one crush. And I do like Bradley Cooper. Yeah, I'm glad they drafted him. I'm glad that they replaced Adam Thielen with a young, shifty guy in the slot. He caught another touchdown this weekend. It was fun to watch. I actually filmed that touchdown on my phone. So I don't know. That's about the only thing I can see positive going forward is what players do you want to watch develop? Surprisingly, and I'll let you guys talk after this, but have you been on Twitter the last 2 days? Dude, the numbers from PFF.
I deleted it for a reason.
Well, I'll tell you this: the numbers from PFF on Twitter about the Vikings are surprisingly positive. They have like the second best pass blocking, and run blocking is really good, and people are graded high. And it further proves the point that stats don't mean shit if you're not winning games, because they're not. But everybody seems to be playing well.
Numbers lie, because this team I don't think is very good.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm going to get these comments up, but I was at the game. If you guys didn't hear already or see the posts on the page, I had the weekend of a lifetime to be a Vikings fan. I'll tell you guys that at the end of the show. But they just keep shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, in every way possible. And starts the game off with the first possession. The Vikings don't win the toss. They get the ball first. The very first play from scrimmage, a fumble from Josh Oliver. And I just threw my hands up and laughed. I was like, I mean, what other way would this game start? Cool.
Yeah, you say they can't keep turning the ball over, and somehow they do.
Now, to his credit, and Coach O'Connell said this was the first time, and it was. To his credit, he hasn't dropped the ball yet. But, I mean, fumbling turnovers will be the story of this season. Even if they don't fumble for the rest of the year, they'll be like the first 5 games we gave it away 12 or 13 times.
Yeah.
And that ultimately, if they won the rest of the year, we'd look like fools because they would only have 4 losses. But you'd still say you could have won 3 or 4 of those games had you not given the ball away 12 times in that time.
Well, this game we lost the turnover battle, time of possession, dropped at least 8 passes.
It's rough.
It was a rough game. Minnesota can't stop kicking themselves in the butt.
And there's going to be some back and forth because I like to pride myself from being a fan and getting a little bit more intelligent about the game as we go on and we do this show. If I criticize something, I can find the positive in it too, because I'm going to criticize a player or 2 or 5. I'm going to criticize the coach today. And I'm also going to say, and I'll start with Kevin O'Connell. He had some hiccups and what the F moments that's in this game. But I'll tell you, when he draws up a good play like the screen to Madison and it just goes out of his hands, that's not on the coach. These players
resource management in this game needed some help though too.
Sure. Yeah, we'll get to that too. I gotta say it off the top, man. And this was my rant, and I actually put a note in for it. And I'm gonna just try to read. I'm not gonna read it verbatim, but my God, it hurt me today writing this out. But I don't think that this team has any fire in their belly whatsoever. And I hate saying that because I know these guys practice hard and they want to win, and they're pro athletes, and I'm a guy sitting in a lazy boy chair. But I'm going to put it to you, this is the analogy that I told myself. There are a couple of teams that we faced this year, 3 of them to be exact, that when I looked at the schedule, I automatically penciled in a loss, and I feared the Vikings playing that team because I just didn't think they had it in them to beat them. Now, any given Sunday, Monday, Thursday is possible. But when I saw the Chiefs, the Niners, and the Eagles, I said,
just not a Tuesday. That's Kirk's day off.
Yeah, not that Tuesday night football when Joe Webb's in town.
He better not go to a baseball game with his family.
Oh, man.
Did you see all that drama?
All the drama, just like with him not throwing with the receivers. I mean,
Mike Florio just went off on him. That was wild.
Florio, I'm not even going to say the mean shit I want to say about him. I'm sorry you're such an old man nerd and a loser. You're a loser, dude. And I don't care that you make more money than me. I don't care that you have a show. You are an absolute dork. And it would be really cool if that Mike Tyson quote came out where a player could come in and knock your teeth in for all the dumb shit you say about this team. That's it. Somebody should do that, but they're not going to, and I'm not going to keep going on with that doofus. But there's a lack of urgency on this team. I feel like they practice, but this team, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the times it feels like these guys are going through the motions, and the pinpoint accuracy and precision from everyone, that's not just a quarterback thing. It's just not there. And a lot of the stuff that happened last year where luck went their way and, a play here or a fumble there that went their way, I mean, it's not going here. So you got to be 10 out of 10 on everything. And this team's – there's too many moments in the game where, they say the game was decided by 3 plays. Well, every game in 3 plays, the Vikings have absolutely pooped in their hand and wiped their face with it. And I'm going to give the floor back to you guys, but my goodness, first of all, Kirk Cousins – I want to shake you and choke you sometimes because we defend you on the show dozens of times. I don't care if your communication goes out in your helmet. Tom Brady Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, all the greats, they're going to have 6 plays ready if the clock's – I am standing in my seat screaming, the fucking clock. The clock is going out. He's doing this to Kevin O'Connell. They're not prepared. It's basic communication.
Brett Favre used to pretend that he couldn't hear the plays when he could hear them so that he could just run whatever the hell he wanted to throw it to Sidney Rice. I mean, Kirk, and this is a fair criticism of him, he is super conservative. He wants to be told what play to run, and he's going to execute it to the best of his abilities. He does not go off script or, make things up or freelance or do any of that. And most of the time, that's a pretty good asset to have from your quarterback. You know that? But occasionally, it does hurt you when you are as conservative as what Kirk is.
I did enjoy watching the Vikings try to battle back, though. It's always fun to watch that heart trying to get back in the game. I feel like they have that part of the energy down. But I do want to sidetrack just for a second because what you're talking about with the offense in Minnesota, I mean, what we've got in Minnesota is way better than what's happening with Pittsburgh right now. I don't know if you're following that whole Matt Canada thing.
Yeah.
But wow, that's a mess.
True. He's basically what Ed Donatell was for us last year.
Did you see when Canada was mad that they checked out of the play he called and they actually scored a touchdown on the play? He was up in the booth and he looked mad.
And that's the thing. That's the opposite for here. Like, if you check out of the play and it works, we should all be happy that the play was successful.
Right.
But we don't get to that point. And the thing that I'm most furious about with Kirk Cousins of that is I understand that Mike Zimmer, Case Keenum took you to the NFC Championship game. And I have a story about this for the end of the show, by the way. But my goodness. For 4 years, you complained that the guy wouldn't let you do anything. He didn't talk to you. You didn't have meetings. You have total freedom to do what you want. And you just stand there like a kid who's too scared to go up on the front porch of Halloween and get a piece of candy. Go do your job. And I hate saying that because we are the fans, but we're in the stands seeing this, and people around me are losing it. And then
I don't blame him for being a little scared.
delay.
You get hit 10, 15 times a game.
It's true. You have to take a timeout there. Don't like that. Then a couple of plays later, I've been to US Bank once, and it was 2 days ago. Those screens are humongous. Mm-hmm. You have enough people to where the public can watch on television and be like, I don't see enough.
And you're at home. You should have your people in the booth be able to watch and review everything.
Yes. I'm not blaming Kevin O'Connell, and I'm not mad at him for that 100%, but we all kind of knew in the stadium, like, that's too close. They're going to keep the first down. So within like 3 or 4 minutes, 2 timeouts are gone in the second half.
Right.
You're going to need those later. And we did need those at some point.
There's a point that you made earlier about how the team almost doesn't look prepared a little bit. And I've been wondering, because I kind of see that too. Part of this is, and this is just me speculating, Kevin O'Connell, hey, he's the younger head coach. He's the new age. We called him the Kumbaya Minnesota Vikings compared to what we had underneath Mike Zimmer. Part of this makes me wonder, and I'm not saying that they're not competitive, because they are super competitive. That's why they're all professional athletes. But did we not practice enough in the off season? Did we not get enough playtime in scrimmages and practices? TJ Hawkinson sits out all of training camp, all of preseason with vague ear injury thing going on here. And now all of a sudden we're seeing TJ can't hold on to the ball and he doesn't look ready. Did we just assume that he was going to be fine with no practice? Are we giving veterans a little bit too much time off? This is just me speculating, but maybe we need to reel this back a little bit and get the team more prepared for the regular season. I don't know. That's a conversation we'll be having in the off season if in a couple more weeks, they start to turn this around a little bit and look a little better. It's like, are we not preparing the team well enough? I don't know what the answer is to that.
when we start looking at issues like that, though, we do got to pick apart, like, where is the coaching staff's mind on this? Are they all kind of the easygoing Kevin O'Connell kind on the sideline that seems like to be a bit of a player's coach, or do they have that coach on the team that's just on everyone's ass? Is there that kind of blended mixture that's keeping everyone accountable, or is it all,
Yeah.
it's okay, you'll get them next time?
Yeah. I assume Brian Flores is more of the hard ass on the team.
He's got to be. That's the reputation we all
But
heard.
but how much, how much freedom, how much leeway is he given? I mean, how much do you expect from your defensive coordinator to be that guy? Your head coach has to be that guy for the whole team as well. You can't just expect Brian Flores to do that.
I will say this, now that my tone and my volume is back to normal, they are running the ball pretty well. I think it's only a matter of time with the play before Cam Akers should start to get some of the first. Like, he is the running back one. This was a great move by Kwesi. I love this. This reminds me on a diet scale of scaled back version of 2017. You lose Adrian Peterson or you lose Dalvin Cook, whoever we went down. And then you have McKinnon and Latavius Murray. This could be just like that. I really love the Cam Akers thing. I think they're doing well on the line enough to make everybody give them a chance. I
hate to be super negative. I don't want to be negative the whole show, but it's awesome that Cam Akers is doing good. It's concerning to me that you had to trade for him partway through the season, because the other running backs that you drafted, that we expected the Vikings running back group to be pretty good, and they weren't. And you had to trade for a guy, and the guy that stepped in is just immediately better than Ty Chandler, the guy that you gave up peanuts to acquire. That's a little concerning to me.
When does Kenny come off the pup list? Is it now? Or is
it should be. It should be soon. That's what I was just thinking in my head. I didn't see him this weekend, and correct me if I'm wrong. Was Brandon Powell not wearing the number 19 to start the game or season?
I couldn't tell you.
Was it always 4? Because I couldn't figure out who the hell it was. And then I correlated the body size. Is that
maybe he took 4 when Cook left? I don't know.
That's a good point. I'm not sure. I thought he was wearing 19 at some point. Y'all, if you remember in the chat, let us know. But he was a bright spot. I was glad to see that he was playing in the game and doing fairly well. Everybody dropped passes, so I'm not blaming him for his stuff. But we were talking about the defense. I'll talk about it a little bit. I put in my notes, I'm not really mad at the defense outside of some players who need to be better. Byron Murphy got bullied this game. He looked pretty bad, but
I don't like giving up 3rd and longs in any situation.
Yep.
But overall, the defense, I felt, is light years better with the extra pressure, even when you're going against a quarterback that thrives under pressure. Correct. I thought they did pretty well against Mahomes.
That was part of the PFF grades too, to your point, Adam. The defense right now overall is ranked 15th. You want to talk about a dramatic turnaround? Because I'm just saying it how it is. We have, for every good player we have a person that's kind of in question. I'm still not impressed with Harrison Phillips that much. It just is what it is. I don't think he's like a permanent solution. We love Daniil Hunter. The rotational guys around them are okay. They're not blue chip players. It's great. So you have a star pass rusher. There's not really a star in the middle yet. I think Ivan Pace.
I was a bit surprised about a Caleb Evans being a starter, but he's holding his own. He might not be playing great, but he's doing well enough, to be a starter anyway. Correct.
I think we have 2 cornerback number 2s playing at this point. I like Byron Murphy. I haven't seen him be shut down yet, or be a shutdown corner yet, but I like the potential there. Harrison's still playing at a great level, Harrison Smith. And then the safeties behind him or beside him have done great too. Metellus and Bynum have been great so far, that's really nice.
Metellus has been flying around everywhere. I see now why a lot of people didn't like that extension from Metellus, because they felt it was too much, but he's the joker in this defense. They have him flying everywhere.
I'm glad you noticed that too. And like I mentioned, Ivan Pace earlier for the linebacking core. Jordan Hicks is fine. I like that he stayed. Ivan Pace has been noticed around the league. He was actually mentioned on New Heights with Jason and Travis Kelce about being a guy that's just there all the time. He's fast and quick. And they said that, he might be a little undersized, but he doesn't play like it, which I really enjoy that compliment anytime you can hear that about one of our players. But we gotta address it. It happened today. Justin Jefferson went down in the game. So did Travis Kelce. The turf monster strikes again. I believe I heard or read somewhere that they're going to change the turf out at the end of the year, do a different one again. He's on IR, and this is like 48 hours after. So this is not good. He's going to be out for at least a month. And
okay. I mean, I'll start. So this next month without Justin Jefferson is not going to be good. I mean, if you only win one game over the course of it, if he's not 100%, you don't bring him back to a 2-win team. I mean, if we're looking where we're not making the playoffs, you don't. You and I know he's a competitor.
You cut him down after week 9?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the catalyst.
And I'm gonna tell you why, and I know you'll disagree, Adam. I do not want to do this shit where we were terrible and then we ended up winning like 4 games right in a row, right at the end of the season. And instead of having a top 5 pick, now we've got a top 8 pick. And now we're not able to draft the player that we actually need for this franchise. There's no point. There's no point.
What does that say to the rest of the guys in the locker room? You're not good enough to rely on?
I'm not worried about it.
It's a tough sell, and I see both of your guys' point. Adam, I understand all these guys want to win. They're probably sick of losing. And the guys that have been here, like, let's go back 4 drafts. They've had one good season out of this will be another one that's just hard to swallow because you're right there. It's different if you're just absolutely crap and you end up winning a game and it's like Cleveland where you win a game and it's your Super Bowl. This team's competitive enough. They've only lost games this year by 1 score or less. They are close, but something's not right. I am siding with Kyle on this, and I'll tell you why. And this is going to be a dumb default answer, but I believe it, and it sucks for the guys in the present. But your goal is to win a Super Bowl every year. How are you going to do that going forward after this season? Because I don't think they're going to do it this year. They have everything stacked against them, and you just lost your superstar. You need to pay Justin Jefferson after this season's over. He's going to get quarterback money, and you need to go get a quarterback. Now, I think the asterisk at the front we need to talk about is I don't think this general manager has the balls or wants to trade away multiple picks to go get Caleb Williams or Drake May, assuming they would be able to get them anyway, because Chicago might be like, fuck y'all, we're taking this guy, which they have every right to do. Maybe the Broncos will send up more, maybe whomever. I don't know. You need to take a swing on a young guy, figure out some protection, and build the future. We have never done this as a franchise, drafted in the top 10 to get a quarterback. And the problem I have is they're telling you this is going to be a good draft. You need to at least make an attempt. What I'm afraid is going to happen is they're going to win a couple
Kyler
games.
Murray.
Yeah. God, I don't
That's what, dude, that's what's going to happen.
I almost shared an article of you guys that said exactly what I was joking about back in the day there. Said Baker Mayfield could be the next Vikings quarterback.
Yeah.
It's true. And maybe they do that. Maybe they don't extend Kirk and they get a stopgap for a year. But I just think for the smartness of the future, this has to be in a consideration where Adam, I know you're going to hate this. I don't want to watch it, but I'm going to. I think it's almost time to hit the fire sale button and get assets, because at least that way.
For who?
For who? What?
Quarterback.
Well, fire sale for who?
Anybody not named anyone not named Justin Jefferson, Christian Darrisaw, or Brian O'Neill, or TJ. Obviously, TJ's not going anywhere.
I have no idea who that would be then.
Hunter, Harrison Smith. I mean, anybody.
Harrison Smith. Oh wow! I guess we could get some Paul Grip or something.
It's got to.
And Hunter's going to be a free agent after a year. That's to be a sign and trade kind of deal. I mean, all these players have major issues that are going to keep them from being traded. Any kind of like blow it up. I keep saying blow it up. Blow what up? The Vikings don't really have things to blow up. But most of the big money contracts are gone after the next year or two, and anything else isn't really keeping them from rebuilding. So what are you blowing up?
Yeah, and I will say you don't have to tank when you can't win games in the first place. So we don't so we don't have to try very hard in that department. I do think that if the Vikings were serious about hey, we're gonna shut it down on this season, which is never something they would admit publicly or even to the and that's a very tough
But you'll
sell.
still know if it happens. If they pull Kirk and put
Right.
Hall in the starting lineup, I mean, you'll know.
Right.
Yeah.
I do think that if they were serious about going down that route, I mean, you could call a team like the Philadelphia Eagles up and you could say, "Hey, we got a Danielle Hunter for you. What are you willing to give me?" And like someone out there would give you something for Danielle Hunter to come in. We've seen that from enough teams like
For
the
a
Rams,
$20 million edge rusher whose contract's expiring this year? No way.
Yeah, and the current NFL, yeah, I really do think so, Adam. Yeah,
I guess you could get a 6, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you could get something for him if you were a team that like you're all
I just
in
don't see the
on
value
this
because I think
season.
you'd do better as a compensatory pick than you would trading him away.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I don't like I said, I don't think they would pull Kirk. I agree with you there. And he even, and I'm not saying this I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to word it that way. He's smart because he controls everything about his career, his money, his destination. He's got a no trade. If that wasn't in there, I think there would be real conversations. I don't think he's going to. I don't think they're going to shop him. But man, I don't have faith enough to see at this current point, and this is only because this is what I'm going off of what I've seen. I don't know that they're going to give away multiple picks. You know what the value and the cost is going to be to go get a quarterback.
Yeah, Quincy's really going to buckle down and make the decision to put some of these future assets on the line to go and get a quarterback that he believes in. Do great research, find a quarterback that's going to fit what Minnesota wants to do, and go and get him.
I didn't hear the first part. Did you say you think he will, or you think that's what he should do?
It'll be interesting to see if he can. Okay. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't think that he will. From what we've seen, and this is, they could blow me away and do something different, like the year that the Vikings had 3 first-round picks 10 years ago. That was awesome. And 2 of them hit, relatively. One was great, one was okay, one didn't. It's fine, but you're going to have to give up at least probably 3. And from everything we've seen, this guy does the opposite. He gets value and trades back and trades with the division for someone else. And
yeah, we're sucks, still man. So this is an interesting test because we're still so early in his tenure as the Vikings general manager that we really don't know how he's going to handle presumably a season where you only have what are we thinking here, guys? 3 to 8 wins total for the Vikings this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a losing season most likely.
Right, and we know they're moving on from Kirk. I mean, I really don't see a scenario.
Financially, I don't see a way it works out. Because even the deal Kirk is on right now is relatively cheap. And if they were to try to bring him back, they already owe him money on next year's deal because of what they signed him to. So, I mean, bringing him back it'd be like a $50-60 million this year or next year, and that's not happening.
If Rick Spielman was the GM, you could sit here and we could make like more of a prediction about what the future of the Vikings would be. But with Kwesi, I really don't know what they're gonna do.
I know for the playing part of it, they're gonna keep trying and they're gonna work on stuff. And like you said, the Kumbaya coach now is what we have. And I love this coach. I think he's respectable. I think he's very communicative, but there is something that feels like kind of a sleepiness to this team. They're always shooting themselves in the foot. They're always playing from behind. I heard something today, and I can't remember where it was from. I think it was in a space earlier with my buddy Mike. Shout out to him. I did a predictions podcast today for like 10 minutes, or pick'ems or whatever. It was crazy. But the Vikings have only had like 12 snaps with they're in the lead this season.
Yeah, that's insane.
What? How is that possible? And the thing that I think is most frustrating is probably why I know Adam's probably thinking in his head, like, you guys are crazy. We can't do that yet.
Well, Minnesota's only had, 1 first quarter touchdown this season?
It's wild. And things have gone bad in those. Like this, we get the ball, we turn it over the first play. Carolina, you drive all the way down, you throw a pick six.
Remember a couple years ago when the Vikings were only good on like their first drive of the game, and then everything went right away.
I remember this season vividly because we scored one against Cleveland at home in Minnesota, and we only scored one touchdown the whole game. And they lost. They only had 7 points on the board. And I'm like, to Baker Mayfield and the Browns, what are you doing? Yeah, I remember that vividly. They're going to keep playing. They're gonna keep trying to improve, and I can't fault them for that. But it's tough when you have to look and say, hey, mathematically, it says you're not going to get to the dance. And everyone's got a chance as a wild card. The Giants have proven that. The Packers have proven it. But they have a long uphill battle to get there. And I'm just saying, looking at the schedule going forward, like 2 weeks from yesterday, going forward, we host Monday Night Football against the Niners.
No,
I don't want to watch that game. I don't think the Vikings are going to be anywhere near prepared because I think Dallas right now would embarrass the Vikings, and the 49ers embarrassed the Cowboys last night.
I don't know if you guys follow Stephen A. Smith, but he loved that Cowboys loss.
He's such a dick. He always puts that up when they lose. It's so funny. I haven't seen this one in particular, but that is hilarious. Yeah.
But as far as the whole Justin Jefferson thing, who do you think could step up to replace some of that production? Do you think Hawkinson has to do it? Do you think maybe Addison in the starting lineup with some more reps? Do you think they'll look more to the running game? How do you think Minnesota will adjust?
I mean, you're running the ball better than you were. Somebody's going to have to be reliable with their hands. It's been frustrating this year. To your point, Adam and Kyle. TJ Hawkinson, I'm not blaming anything beforehand because I don't know what the deal is. I know it's hard when you're in a mental slump like this. Everything is harder than it usually is. But Hawkinson's not catching passes. KJ Osborne, I mean, good God, for everything 2 years ago where I was like, this kid is on the up and up. He keeps dropping crucial passes. I don't know who. Like at this point, I just want you to run the ball and put an extra blocker in every time and just see if we can win death by 1,000 paper cuts.
That one medicine screen, if he could have hauled in that pass, it would have probably been a touchdown.
Right. It's the story of the season, man. The one or two plays you wish you could have back, and it sucks. But I just know everybody. It's okay to feel down. I tried to be positive the other week when we lost to the Chargers and try to spin it that one way. But with Justin Jefferson being out, this offense is going to be a little anemic now, and I don't like that. I still think they have Hawkinson, Osborne, Addison, and it's great. I love the two running backs we talked about before. Brandon Powell stepped up, but it just doesn't put like I said.
N'Keal Harry got elevated too, so they got that big receiver too.
They just don't strike fear into anyone, especially with Jefferson out. And it's going to be tough. And Kyle, you know what I'm going to say. This would be the most Viking thing ever. They'll pull it out and win 3 in a row, and they'll be 3-5 coming into whatever. By the time Jefferson can come back, that could easily happen. We'd feel a little bit better about them, but mixed emotions. I know it's probably a little too early to be talking about the draft and getting pissed off at the GM and all that, but it's just a frustrating time to be a fan. I mean, this is not how we envisioned the season to start compared to last year. You get a
I'm still not in the mindset of where I'm ready to throw in the total in the season. I think there's still too much football to play, some division games to come. I know it's more of an optimistic point of view than a realistic point of view, but Minnesota needs to start winning some of these one-possession games and showing that they've got a little bit of that heart from last year. And then they're really not that far out of everything when you take a look at the major scope of things. It's
true. I agree with this too. Andrew says, I think Kirk wasn't quite on this week. A lot of those drops were quite on target. It's true. And let's be honest, you play the reigning champs. They didn't play very well. There was one drive where they gifted the Vikings 3 penalties on one drive, all against Justin Jefferson, and he came away with a field goal. You got to be better than that. They have to take advantage of situations when they aren't the ones giving the ball away or giving up yards. And that's the one thing I'll say. Most of these games, I haven't seen the Vikings be penalized a lot, which is nice. They're playing relatively clean football that way, but let's talk about the other elephant in the room because I have a different opinion on this. I was at the game and I said the opposite of what I'm going to say now, but after having some time to cool off, guys, the referees didn't lose this game for the Vikings. The Vikings lost this game because they're not a good football team right now. They're not playing good football. Do I think that the refs need to have an accountability where they get fined or suspended? 100%. I don't know why we haven't done that already, and I think it's outdated. And quite frankly, I think you're protecting them, which I think is very shady, and that brings a lot of question into the tinfoil hat wearers of the NFL.
The
I
integrity
still
of the
can't
game.
believe the NFL
Yeah.
referees aren't full-time employees.
We can
That
start
blows my
there.
mind.
That's a great point, Adam. They need to be full-time employees. There needs to be accountability. I don't know how in the world the defensive pass interference was called against Harrison Smith other than, oh, he's got to turn his head around. Okay, well, that's just like here in the South, all these old Southern religious whites want to put everyone in jail for marijuana. Get the fuck over it and change the rule because it's stupid. It's stupid. How am I supposed to – not only am I supposed to play defensive back, but I got to partially play receiver too. That gets on my nerves. Harrison Smith was literally hip-tossed to the ground, which is total bullshit. Much less holding. When you flip a guy over on his back, can't do that. The call against Addison and L'Jarius Sneed, whether or not that you want to call that pass interference or a defensive hold, I'm not so much worried about that. If you want to let them play, I understand that rule. But when you don't penalize a player for taking his helmet off and clearly say put your helmet on, you are showing favoritism as a referee, and that is total bullshit. And they should have called
the hands to the face during that play.
Hands to the face against CJ Ham on that play. I mean, I will never be that person who's like, the NFL scripted, it's rigged, it's blah, blah, blah. But you have to be better than that. And the apology every week for we missed this, that doesn't cut it. That's not acceptable. We don't want that. You can take that paper and wipe your ass with it. That's where I'm at with it. Fix
The
that.
Vikings have always, but that's the thing about this team, though. The Vikings have always been on that side of getting screwed over by it. Because how many times do you watch a game on Sunday and then on a Monday you hear about the team got that, that note from the league about how, we missed this call, we're sorry. Well, that doesn't change. That doesn't change the outcome of the game. Real quick here before it gets lost, Jonathan, you make a good comment about how Kirk hasn't been all that accurate this year. Kirk, and this is, coming into this year, I think Kyle Smith and I both said maybe we could see a scenario where they extend Kirk for 2 or 3 more years and keep him in Minnesota. I really think Kirk is looking his age right now. It's crazy how that happens to players in professional sports, how you can just all of a sudden start to look like you're aging out of the league. Kirk, to me, he's never been the most mobile guy in the pocket, but he could scramble and he could move around a little bit. We're seeing absolutely none of that from Kirk this year. He's reminded me a little bit of when Peyton Manning was getting older, where it's just drop back and no real movement in the pocket and just take a hit. So I really think that, this is the last season for Kirk in Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't see him coming back this year.
Yeah, he's getting older too. I love, like, at the end of the day, when we do a summary on Kirk, I know we wanted him to be the guy, and I don't think he was ever going to be the guy, but he gave us the best shot out of the one options that we had, and I firmly agree with that. I think he's underappreciated and overly scrutinized, but I don't see it, man. Especially, like, watching quarterback and then seeing that he is always overanalyzing. I think he's just one of those guys who shrinks in the bigger moments, and I hate saying that, but man, like, that play this weekend really changed my outlook on it because it already happened once in the season where, like, my headset went out. Okay, well, practice that at practice and make a decision. I don't care if you get to the plate and you swing and you strike out, but at least strike out by swinging. Don't watch the ball go by. You have to make a choice. I'm very pissed about that because you have to be ready in those scenarios. You can't just give timeouts and yards away for stuff like that. But I agree with you, both of you. I don't think he comes back. God, I don't know what that's going to look like next year. It could be a number of things, but
all right. One more quick thing though before we talk about game balls and donkeys and everything else. Vikings fans, buy Vikings tickets, please.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Kansas City Chiefs / Taylor Swift fans, and it was funny to see some of the Swift fans being like, "Why are the Chiefs wearing their white costumes today?"
I will admit, behind the Chiefs, so at US Bank, with the way the roof is set, half is that it's almost like a plexiglass kind of deal for the roof. It's not actual glass, which is crazy. It actually moves and expands. So that angled into the Chiefs sideline. And I'll tell you, that side on the half behind the Chiefs was mostly red. The Vikings home side behind the home bench, mostly purple. But this felt like a 50-50 game. And I get it. You're the world champs. You're the reigning dynasty in the NFL. You probably travel really well. But coming from the weekend before where I was at the Panthers game and it was mostly purple to come into U.S. Bank for the first time, I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of Chiefs fans here.
There's a lot of Vikings fans that have already bailed on this season, and I think that was pretty obvious when you looked at how many Chiefs fans were in attendance.
Oh yeah,
like there was a lot of tickets must have got sold, resold before this one.
I have to talk about Jonathan's comment because I want to get the rest of these up, but I agree with you too. Going back to that foul against Jordan Addison that was picked up. Yeah, I don't know how you throw a flag and suddenly decide to pick it up and then someone takes off their helmet at the same time. The biggest controversy here too is they didn't give an explanation for this. No. That's the thing that's the shadiest part of it for me is you need to tell everyone there's, why there isn't for this. And I didn't like that at all. That looks very shady on the ref's part.
And I'd have been fine if it wasn't PI. I get it. But at the very least, it was some holding. Agreed.
This has been very, very tough. We're glad you're all here for group therapy on the Perfect View podcast.
Game ball, who actually played well?
Who played well in this game? Jordan Addison played well in this game. I'm happy that he got another touchdown. And with JJ going out and, him having to step up as a rookie, I'm very happy with him. And overall, I'm not giving my game ball to this guy, but we shit on Ed Ingram before the season started. Dude's been playing decent. And I'm pretty surprised at that.
We always say on this show, when you don't hear an offensive lineman's name, he's doing all right. And we haven't mentioned Ed Ingram really the last couple of weeks. So, that's a good thing right there.
Kudos to you, sir. I also have an interesting theory about our offensive line when we're done with game balls and donkeys.
I will give my game ball to Cameron Bynum, who I feel played a game at safety, came in third in team tackles. 8 total, 7 solo. We defended a big pass down the line. I don't think he's going to be giving up a starting safety job anytime soon, and I think Minnesota really likes what he offers his team.
Nice.
I like that. Do you want to give yours to anyone, Kyle West?
I did not watch the game. I was at work. I came home with about 4 seconds left on the clock and watched the Vikings shit the bed and went, I am not going to torture myself with this replay today.
I'm not going to give a 1A and 1B because I know Adam hates it, and that's just going to keep it in spirit here. But Marcus Davenport had another sack quietly coming around and
some consistent pressure too. He is playing at a decent level now.
Yeah. Sneak around and stick on this team, why don't you? Greg Joseph, 2 of 2 and 2 of 2. I always love when the kicker does his job, so kudos to you too.
It's always nice, like Adam said, when you don't have to talk about a lineman. It's extra nice when you don't have to talk about a kicker because you made everything you were supposed to make.
Right.
Right.
That's the highest compliment you can give them.
So I heard a theory today on a Twitter space, which is great because it's not like I'm stealing material from like First Take or Pat McAfee or something. Somebody said that we got Dalton Risner and he hasn't played yet because we're going to trade us for Cleveland or someone else. And I was like, I've heard that. Wouldn't that just be?
I've heard that going around.
Wouldn't that
Did you see Florian Lowe for the Patriots, who Minnesota traded there before the start of the season? That he is second in quarterback pressures allowed.
Nice.
That's not good for him, but for Minnesota, it's nice that they were able to unload a player that just doesn't seem to be getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, highly rated player for the Vikings this game, Jacqueline Roy. He's like the third highest rated from this game. Pretty good. Didn't see that coming. Shout out to you, sir.
So, donkeys, what do we got?
Media coverage of Taylor Swift. That's my donkey.
I'm sick of drop passes and fumbles. So if you got any part of those, whatever. Kirk, I love you to death, buddy. I got to see more from you. You cannot take a sack on the last play of the game. Jesus Christ. Again, get an attempt to heave the ball. Kevin O'Connell, be better with your time management there.
I'm going to go to a guy that I thought would have a little bit bigger of an impact this year, but so far has been really disappointing. I'm going with Dean Lowry.
Good choice. I always wanted former Packers to come here and shine, but you know,
Took us 45 minutes to get to donkeys.
It happens.
Yeah, we're now at the worst. It's like a joint. We're just passing around like, all right, who do you want to give the donkey to? Everybody get one. This team just, they're not playing well.
Did you just pass that to the right-hand side?
Oh, I've never smoked weed in my life. So, yeah. If you want to make fun of me,
only,
please.
Man.
Please, man. I never in my life, so I wouldn't know. On the positive note, they play the Bears. And
There's a positive note?
There's a positive note. You're going to get to see
Minnesota
what
hung in there with the returning world champions, and we're competitive till the final quarter, final couple drives. So, I mean, that is something to be happy about. When the schedule came out, I was looking at this even before the game. My heart, I was like, I don't even want to watch this because I think Minnesota is going to get blown out. But they came out and were competitive.
They were tied at halftime.
A solid game of football.
Tied at halftime. It was unreal. I couldn't believe. There's a donkey on the right. Good job, Andrew. Yeah, they were tied at halftime. I was so stunned when everybody took a restroom and a food alcohol break for that game. I was like, well, I didn't think we'd be here. I thought this would be much worse.
You know what? That's what's always so frustrating about being a Vikings fan, and this is an odd statement to make, but we're never just terrible. Like, we can't just ever have just a terrible season. We're always actually a really good team, and we were almost in every game, because then we get to the off season and we get to do this shit every fucking year where it's like, well, we have Justin Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson, and boy, we're just a young quarterback away from being real competitive, and if the ball bounces our way, and boy, doesn't that just beat you down after I've been watching this team since 1998. Good Lord.
And hey, you know what?
Stadium, did you go and get one of Brian Robinson's grilled cheese sandwiches?
I didn't know that was a thing. I was happy, though. I was happy that I paid only $9 for a cheeseburger and fries. That seems reasonable at a stadium. I could have easily thought that would have been $15 to $16. All right, let's get into it.
I have never eaten at a game.
$6.
My dad was nice enough to buy cups. I will give you a negative review on something, U.S. Bank. I will give you one. You don't give refills on the hard cups that you buy? Shame on you. That is fucking robbery.
I mean, my dad had to refill up, but they charge you.
My dad had to buy more of these. I took 3 of the game cups home, which I'm very excited now. I have my mom's old Panthers cup because I miss my mom, but by God, I got 3 Vikings cups now, so that's cool. But I'm going to get into it. Story time, folks, and some fun and positivity. Number 1, I met John Randall on Saturday. Couldn't be cooler. Walked up to him. I was the second guy in line. He goes, "How the hell are you?" I was blown away. I was like, "You're awesome." I was like, "Well, I heard my favorite Viking was going to be here, and I thought I'd get him to sign a hat." He's like, "Who's your favorite Viking?" I was like, "Come on, bro. It's you. You're the best." And I laughed and said, "Your football life was amazing." I was like, it's just unreal the amount of success you have, especially for your story. I was like, and you're funny, and you're still with the team. Like, I love that you do stuff with the team. He goes, "I'll roll with this team till I'm dead." I said, "I love that." And cool. I had 2 hats. I have them back here, but I'm not going to grab them. But it's just the horn. One is all black, and one is purple. He signed the one under the lid. It's all purple. And he said, when I walked away, he goes, "I like your hat." Gave me a dap. Super cool. My dad got a picture signed. My dad is a Chiefs fan, so he's obviously happy. He gave me the signed picture from Randall, which is nice. We immediately jet over, get lunch, and go to the stadium, which I found our legacy brick. It is out the front.
Yeah.
It does exist. It does exist. It's in zone 5, which is the bottom right corner. And if you're looking at the stadium in front of you, it's to the road at the front of the ship. So you guys can go find us over there. And it's right before the section split off. There's a blank space, Taylor Swift. Blank space of bricks before each section. And I just one by one started. Me and my dad looked, and we found it very quickly. So got to see the legacy brick. The stadium is beautiful. It's unreal. Everything about it's cool. They obviously, like every other stadium, they conveniently ended the fan shop. We did not go there.
Did you have to go over the land bridge, or did you go a different way?
We went in the Polaris gate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we parked in the parking lot closest to wherever it took us on the GPS, and it was where they do the tailgating. And we started the Polaris Gate. By chance, I just happened to get it right because I had no idea where I was going. But if you've never been there and you look at this stadium from the outside, it is unreal how it resembles a giant ship.
Yeah,
I love that they
really
did that. The mirrors are awesome. The wood panel is awesome. We did not get to go in the locker room for more than 10 seconds. They were very adamant on, hey, we have to get you out of here. It closes at 3. If you can afford to go do the suites, they have a lot of interaction with the players, which I love. That level that you see on TV where they go into the locker room has to be really cool if you can afford that. But there's no real bad seat in the stadium. And I love that this place let me go on the field. In LA, that Chargers and Rams stadium, they were adamant you will not touch the field. And
did you get quite a bit of time in the TCO studios?
Studios. I don't remember if we went
I saw you
there.
take a picture in the studio.
Oh, I'll tell you about that in a second. So that's at the Performance Center. The stadium was cool. They actually let us go in the booth where Romo and Nance were, which was sweet. All the memorabilia and all the suite levels are awesome. All the old school, like everything imaginable from back in the day for all the superstars, Fran and Jim Marshall and everybody that you can think of is on the wall. I'm not going to do like the flex thing or whatever. I'm just going to tell him thank you. Shout out to my buddy Turtle. He does work for the Vikings. He did not have to do this for me, but after we got done with the stadium tour, he called me and said, hey, come to TCO Performance Center. So I'll give you the rundown very quick. I got to go in, parked at the coaches part of the stadium, which is nuts. He said this is the VIP spot. So, yeah, usually they don't.
That's
nobody's
cool.
here. So we go in the back. There's all the bays with the jerseys, helmets, sweaters, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
We go through there. We see the players' lounge. I go in the locker room. If you go on Twitter, and I'll put mine up later, you can see my picture. I am cheesing the hardest I've ever cheesed. Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins right beside each other, right in front of their lockers. They had to clear out the locker to the left of JJ because he gets so much shit sent to him. That's all his stuff in there, which makes sense.
Like autograph stuff? Like
no,
fan
just like
letters?
sponsors and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Just like jerseys and cleats and all that. It's wild. The locker room is amazing. It's like a huge man cave, which is cool. We got to see all the pools where they recover, the medical room where, they'll get treatment and stuff. Indoor practice facility actually does a light show, which is hilarious. It'll do and it's weird to see that in a football stadium. It's kind of freaky, actually. Outside, he showed, where they practice. There's an unheated field. There's a heated field, which is nuts. Got to go up in the office areas. 2 things I learned. Number 1, there's a lot of jobs. If you ever try to get in the NFL, if you don't mind what team you work for, you can find a job somewhere in there, whether it be coaching or writing. I didn't know the beat writers were in the TCO Performance Center. That is nuts.
They have offices.
Kevin Seifert and all those guys, the crew. Walk by Kevin O'Connell's office, walk by Quessie's office. Adam, I saved this part for you because I know you'd appreciate it, and it made me laugh and it made me think of you. So we get into the position group rooms. The quarterback room is the most boring room, and they still have their Christmas tree from last year in the corner.
Oh, boy.
Wide receivers obviously have the biggest room because they're divas. The only room out of any of the position groups that was set up with any kind of decorations for Halloween, the offensive linemen.
Offensive line group?
Decked out to the T. Every wall had decorations. They had a giant shelf for all kinds of candies and snacks.
Very fun.
And then, of course, I did not take a photo, but they were like, hey, for this play that Kansas City is running, this is what we're going to look for. And I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. So that was so cool. Got to go in the Vikings draft room. Do you understand how nuts that is? Everything on the front wall is a television. It's so cool. It's so cool. One of the guys that worked there that knows my friend is one of the guys that operates it. His daughter is running the TV. Just like, what do you want to watch? And it's just, it's stimulation overload.
That's cool. That's super cool.
It was just a cool experience. Their cafeteria is amazing. They have a schedule up on the wall, which is really hilarious, like military style schedule, like curfew is this time, bed check, blah, blah, blah. But I had the dream scenario of the weekend, and I got to see that part at the end, which 99% of fans will probably never see.
Right.
And I'm grateful to you. He's one of my good buddies, and first time in Minnesota, so thank you for that. But to give you guys a little positive note in the show, the stadium, the facility is awesome. You guys should definitely do a tour if you ever go.
My only complaint about the stadium is that when you go up in levels on each level of the, when you go up each row, those stairs are steep, man. They are
That's
steep.
That's what Charlotte said in the comments.
Yeah, unless you have a major fear. If you have the nosebleed seats, it's going to be steep. Yeah, that would be not fun. Then there's a horrible seat. Yeah, I understand that. I have to say, I think the team, yeah, they've invested 100%. For the horror stories you hear about Cincinnati and Arizona, this team has definitely invested into helping
If
the
someone
players.
falls backwards on the steps, they're probably dead.
God, I hope that glass keeps them up or whatever's in front. Oof, that's tough. But yeah, we're close to an hour. I'm sorry, guys. This team is they're still having issues. They're 1-4, but maybe they'll win. I'll tell you a fun thing at the end. I told you I'd talk about this. So at the end, we shared a beverage and we talked about stuff. And I looked to the left and I say, "Are those next week's jerseys?" And he said, "Yeah, we're going to Chicago." So I get to touch Harrison Smith's jersey. He brings it down. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is so cool." He gets his jersey special cut like a shirt, so it actually goes like this underneath.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Got to touch Cousins and Addison's jersey. I'm like,
oh, how different does like the jersey that they wear on the field feel from like one that you buy from NFL shop?
I would
Was it
say
like
they're similar. I would say they're very similar, but obviously they're fit because they have scrunched sleeves for pads, and so it's not loose, so everything's not moving around. So it
Right.
does compact everything. But you can tell that certain guys want things a certain way, and that's what he ended up telling me. You know, he's the guy who sews on the nameplates. He takes adjustments from people, which is really cool. Interesting thing, though. I said, "Hey, I got to know what happened because you were here. What the fuck happened to Sam Bradford, man?" And he says, if you look at the end of the game in week 1 where he destroyed the Saints, somebody hit him very low in the knee. It tweaked something in the wrong way, and he was pretty much done for the season. He goes, "I want to tell you right now, I've been with this team for 9 seasons and 10 years. Shout out to him because he'll be there next year, and he'll be up on the Vikings management wall. They do 10, 15, 20 years.
That's
Turtle's going
cool.
to be up there, and I love you for that, man. I'm jealous of your job." But he said, think about this. You got to the NFC Championship with a backup quarterback. If Sam Bradford stayed healthy and Adrian Peterson didn't get hurt that year too, remember this. I think it was the last year. You're starting, or no, maybe it was Dalvin Cook. Sorry. Dalvin Cook and Sam Bradford both stay healthy. He goes, we were in the Super Bowl that year. He goes, I firmly believe with a little bit of magic, they would have won and been the first team ever to win a Super Bowl in their own thing. And I could just feel my soul deflating. I was like, oh my God. I forgot that Dalvin and Sam went down. He goes, Pat Shurmur. He said, I've only fangirled to a couple of people. When Sam Bradford came back and we talked to him when he was with the Arizona, he remembered me. He said that you're fun and energetic. He said, I giggled like a girl inside. He's like, I deal with these guys every day. He's like, and I shared a beer with Pat Shurmur one day and said, we're lucky to have you. And I like the way that you call stuff. And he goes, thank you for noticing. And I was like, that's a cool moment, man. Thank you for sharing me with
I
that.
completely forgot Sam Bradford played for Arizona after he left Minnesota.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But that was a fun little nugget to like share. My dad, was asking him all these fun, dorky questions that a 60-year-old would ask somebody that's my age in the NFL. But getting to talk football a little bit. I told him, I said straight up, I said, look, I would never disrespect you guys like that while I'm in here. I was like, I'm just telling you who I want next year. I want Drake May from North Carolina, and I hope that you're fitting his jersey.
Yeah, when you were in the Vikings war room, did you leave a little Post-it note with like, hey, draft this kid in the first round? And like,
Drake May, no matter what.
Stick it up.
It's a good reference, Adam. I just said the little tagline that I've seen on Twitter for a little bit when we walked out, and I said, pray for May.
Yeah.
I hope so much that I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to come to the team.
Did you say it in the Justin Timberlake voice?
I said it under my breath because I didn't want to piss anyone off. I'll tell you that. There's a little bit of that going around. Like, you don't want to say anything bad about a person or anything because that'll spread like wildfire. Fun fact, too, even though he's not playing, Nick Mullins was in the building. So I did get to see him and give him a dap. That was pretty sweet. Because I was like, cool. Where the fuck do I know this guy's face from? And he just looked at me and goes, you know who that is. And I was like, is that Nick Mullins? It's like, yeah, he's got people in here. So he was showing him around the facility and stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool. But it's a Saturday, like at 6 or 7 p.m. Nobody's going to be in there. They're all at home. But that's into my little rant. Fun little thing to kind of lighten the mood for the week.
Yeah, no, that's a really cool experience. Did
you get to check out the powerhouse?
The weightlifting room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like in the video, it was really cool. They had showed how they can open the doors and stuff. They can go right to the practice field. Pretty good.
Isn't that really cool?
Pretty good little training facility in there. It reminded me a lot of like one of the like major YMCA's I've been to in like a major city like LA or New York. You got all the cardio up top so you can look down and there's just everything you could imagine downstairs. And they have TVs up, with every workout for the day. It's pretty awesome. But I'll shut up now. If you guys are still here, there's still 5 people watching. Thank God to you. Just listen to me ramble about this. Chicago, they're playing in Chicago this weekend. We will be back to talk about that show. But right now, it is my duty to tell you, if you've made it this far, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel you are watching on. Hit the notification bell. Give us some love. If you can see at the top of our screen or wherever you can see it from the viewer standpoint, I always get on during the middle of the show. If you see me looking at my phone and I go to Facebook and I love the video, I go on YouTube and like the video. Just trying to pump our numbers up, man. So if you could like and subscribe to us on social media, that would be wonderful.
And if you're listening to us on a replay, wherever you're hearing this, please leave a positive comment or like, subscribe, whatever you do there, because we are still trying to grow and get this community a little bit bigger. We love what we have, but we feel like it could be a little bit more.
It could. I think we're on the brink, man. And I'll say this, for all the people we want to bring to the show, we love you guys that are regulars here. Andrew, Jonathan, Charlotte, you guys are always here. We honestly, the show wouldn't be the same without you here. So we appreciate you for that too. But let's plug and promote and get out of here because I got to go to bed. Adam Carlson works for the Viking Age, thevikingage.com. Go check out his work.
I do not work for them. I'm an independent contractor who contributes. Just
kidding. He is an independent contractor for the Viking Age. That's exactly what I said. Erase everything from your memory. But yeah.
But I do appreciate shares of my article and clicks through. Those are always very much appreciated. Last month was very good. I recently put out an article about the 5 worst trades in NFC North history. And I felt like that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I remember seeing that. I did not click on it. I will look at it when we get off the show.
I had a lot of fun researching number 5 because it wasn't a terrible trade, but it was a real bad trade.
Okay. For tax purposes. Adam Carlson, you can find him at MN Viking Zombie, like Minnesota.
I don't believe we have anyone watching on Twitch, and I haven't used my Twitch a whole lot lately, but my internet hasn't been great, so I haven't been streaming much. I'm kind of hoping that solidifies. If not, I may have to make some changes. But for now, you can check me out at MN Viking Zombie on most social media platforms. And if I'm not there, I probably will be soon.
Adam's a fun follow on those things. You guys check his stuff out.
I get almost no interaction on X these days.
I'm in Viking land and I don't really get any interaction, and it's annoying because I follow these people to get some of their viewers, and it still doesn't work. So whatever juju
I got wrestling fans, I got Vikings fans, and I got like Walking Dead horror fans and stuff like that. And no matter what content I try to put out, nobody responds with anything. So it's kind of sad.
There you go. We need to get Adam a Starlink. There you go.
I have Starlink. That's what I'm using.
Oh, great minds, Andrew. Great minds. Speaking of horror, before I put up Kyle West stuff, you'll be proud of me, and some of you will shame me, but it's fine. I recently watched the original Exorcist for the first time to get in the horror season spirit, and
there you go.
I was pleasantly surprised. For that time and that age, that had to scare the living shit out of people, and I appreciate it.
1973. I actually rewatched it just the other day because you
guys are getting ready for the new one.
You told me you watched.
I'm not going to see the new one. I read it and I heard the reviews were terrible.
I have not read anything good about it.
It is
that makes me more excited to watch it, to be honest.
Well, it's funny too, and to make this full circle, I talked to Kyle about it. Adam, you mentioned this from the show, so it links together. You mentioned Giraffe Drake May, no matter what. In that movie, Kevin Costner's mother, she was in The Exorcist. I knew that face from somewhere. I swear that's her. I knew it. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty good movie.
You know, if you want something good related to The Exorcist to watch, there was a TV show that came out on Fox a couple years ago. It was an Exorcist TV show that works as a sequel to the original film while also being its own kind of standalone story. And it is surprisingly really good. Like, I recommend watching it.
And I will check that out, Kyle. Thank you for that note.
Yeah.
And your time. It's your turn. You can plug away.
You can check me out at Vaguely Square over on Blue Sky. That is a fun social media platform to use. That's about the only one that I'm on right now as well, too. But that's where I post a lot of my photography work and other nonsense things over the course of the day. So
Do you guys use
check
Threads?
me out.
I don't.
I do not, because I do not
logged
like
on there a
Facebook.
few times and it's all thirst traps.
Yep.
All it is.
I haven't, and now it shows up in Instagram's feed, and I just haven't posted a single thing on there.
I guess I fail to understand why, if you own Facebook and you also own Instagram, you need a third thing that's a version of the other two things.
It's hilarious.
Well,
because
Meta's got to push everything they can.
Facebook has to have the photo version of itself, which is Instagram, which I use the most and like. And Instagram has to have its version of Twitter, which is there. And it's just funny to see how many of them that people have, but I don't use it. But anyways, also Charlotte and Jonathan, if you're still watching, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm waiting on some money to return in. I'm going to get you guys some Purple People podcast merch. Kyle found it for me. It is not at this logo, which is on the screen, or this link on the screen. It is actually under his Redbubble account.
Redbubble account, I believe, right?
Yes.
I am working on consolidating everything here. That's my winter project. We need to consolidate all of it and get it underneath one platform so that it's easier to share. That's my quick little sidebar about that one. Boy, oh boy, is it difficult to find a platform to sell your photography or artwork on online. Finding one that does everything well is extremely difficult. So, yeah, you end up being spread among 3 or 4 different places because of it.
I appreciated you looking that up for me.
One more quick thing before you plug your stuff, Smith. We had one strike handed out in the Survival League this week. They took Buffalo, which didn't work out well for them, but make sure you get your picks in, keep going, because we are giving away a prize in that Survival League, and we are having some fun there. So make sure to stay active, make your picks. Don't get a strike for not making a pick, because that's terrible.
Here you go, Kyle. Charlotte says that if you need help working on the website, I'll volunteer John. Voluntold.
Awesome.
There you go. I know you guys will help out too, because they always hit me up on social media. But yeah, Kyle West Photography, we always brag on it. It's great. I saw that you had some more shots up somewhere. I think you posted on Facebook. But KyleWest84.picfair.com, PICFAIR. Great work, man, as always.
Thank you.
I myself am at NC Dog Dude. I interact the most on Instagram and then Twitter below that. I do have Facebook. If you somehow stalk me and find me on there, I may add you, I may not. Don't take it personally. But you can always follow me on Twitter and Instagram at NC Dog Dude, and I will most likely repost Viking stuff and put pictures up of dogs or stupid memes, because that is what makes the world go round. Oh, there we go. Andrew, Charlotte, Jonathan, thank you. Thank you for keeping the show alive and entertaining in the comments. It is.
Oh, yeah. Once again, thank you to all you guys. And we'll be back in a week or so to talk about that game against Chicago Bears and see where this team is at after all this weird stuff. But thanks again, and we'll be back. Check us out wherever you find podcasts. And in the meantime, stay classy, Minnesota.